Have you ever been told a health problem runs in your family, or that it's just genetic? It's a phrase we hear often in medicine. It sounds so final, so definitive. A doctor might explain that a condition is hereditary, passed down through your family line, like an unfortunate heirloom. For many, this explanation feels like a closed door. The conversation ends there. It's presented as a fact, an unchangeable part of who you are. The implication is clear. Your genes have dealt you a bad hand, and there is little you can do about it. This is a story we have been told for decades, and it's one that many of us have come to accept without question. This idea of genetic destiny can be a powerful one. It can stop us from asking more questions. If a disease is written into our DNA, what's the point? This line of thinking removes a sense of personal agency. It suggests that our lifestyle, our diet, and our environment are merely supporting actors in a play directed entirely by our genes. When we accept this, we might stop searching for other causes. We might stop looking for ways to improve our health. The label genetic can become a full stop at the end of a sentence, rather than a comma, inviting us to explore what comes next. It shuts down curiosity, and with it, the potential for real change. Think about the implications of this. If a condition is purely genetic, then the responsibility shifts. It is no one's fault. It is not the fault of our modern food systems. It is not the fault of the chemicals in our environment. It is not even the fault of our daily habits. It is simply a matter of bad luck in the genetic lottery. This perspective can be comforting, in a way. It absolves us of the difficult work of examining our lives and our world. But this comfort comes at a very high price. It prevents us from investigating the true, underlying reasons why so many of us are getting sick in the first place. This is what I call the genetic dead end. It's a convenient explanation that often masks a deeper, more complicated truth. It's a simple answer to a complex problem. But science at its best is not about finding simple answers and stopping there. It is about relentless curiosity. It is about asking why, again and again. When we are told an illness is genetic, it's often a signal that we have reached the limits of current understanding, not the limits of what is possible. It's a sign that we need to start asking better questions, not stop asking them altogether. So, what are these powerful things called genes? Let's demystify them a bit. Genes are essentially instruction manuals. They are sections of DNA that contain the code for building proteins. And proteins do almost everything in your body. They build your muscles, power your immune system, and carry signals in your brain. You can think of your genes as a vast library of blueprints. But a blueprint is not a building. It is just a plan. For that plan to be read correctly, and for the building to be constructed properly, you need the right materials and skilled workers. The same is true for your genes. For your genes to express themselves correctly, they need a specific set of conditions. They are not independent dictators ruling over your body. They are highly responsive to their environment. This environment is the world inside your cells. Your genes need a constant supply of the right raw materials to function. These include essential vitamins, like the B vitamins, which are crucial for DNA replication and repair. They need minerals like zinc and magnesium, which act as spark plugs for thousands of chemical reactions. Without these nutrients, the instructions in your genes can get misread, leading to faulty proteins and eventually to disease. Furthermore, your genes need a clean and stable environment to work in. Imagine trying to build a delicate watch in the middle of a dusty, chaotic construction site. It would be nearly impossible. Similarly, your genes struggle to function when your body is filled with toxins. Pollutants from the air we breathe, chemicals in the food we eat, and chronic stress all create an internal environment of chaos. These factors can damage DNA directly or interfere with the machinery that reads the genetic code. A clean environment, therefore, is not a luxury for our genes. It is an absolute necessity for our long-term health and well-being. So, when we talk about a genetic problem, what are we really saying? Is the blueprint itself faulty? Sometimes that is the case, as with rare hereditary disorders like cystic fibrosis or Huntington's disease. But far more often, the problem isn't with the blueprint itself. The problem is with the environment in which that blueprint is being read. The cell might be starved of essential nutrients, or it might be overwhelmed by inflammation and oxidative stress. The question we should be asking is not just what genes do I have, but what is the environment my genes are living in? Let's look at the evidence around us. We are witnessing a dramatic increase in chronic diseases. Conditions like type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disorders, allergies, and many forms of cancer are on the rise. They are appearing at rates that would have been unimaginable just a few generations ago. If these diseases were purely genetic, how could they be increasing so quickly? Human genes simply do not change that fast. Our fundamental genetic code is virtually the same as it was for our ancestors thousands of years ago. A large-scale genetic shift across the entire population would take millennia, not a few decades. The rapid rise of these modern illnesses points to a different culprit. It tells us that something else must have changed, and changed dramatically. The elephant in the room is our environment and our lifestyle. Over the past century, our world has been transformed. The food we eat is fundamentally different. It is often highly processed, stripped of vital nutrients, and loaded with sugar, unhealthy fats, and chemical additives. We have moved from farms to cities. We live more sedentary lives, spending our days indoors, staring at screens rather than moving our bodies under the sun. Our world is also filled with a cocktail of man-made chemicals that our grandparents were never exposed to. There are pesticides on our crops, plastics in our water, and pollutants in our air. We are also living under a different kind of stress. The chronic, low-grade psychological stress of modern life, from financial worries to information overload, creates a state of constant alert in our bodies. This constant stress response leads to chronic inflammation, which is now understood to be a key driver of nearly every modern disease, from heart disease to depression. So, when we see rates of autoimmune disease or certain cancers skyrocketing, blaming it on genes that haven't changed is illogical. It's like blaming the design of a car for a sudden rash of accidents when you know the roads have become icy and the drivers are all distracted. The evidence strongly suggests that our genes are not failing us. Rather, we are failing our genes. We have created an environment that is so different from the one we evolved in that our bodies are struggling to cope. The rise in disease is a signal that our modern lifestyle is pushing our biology past its breaking point. Why then does the genetic label persist so stubbornly in medicine? The answer is, well, complicated, but a large part of it is convenience. For a busy medical system, blaming genetics is honestly an efficient, if unsatisfying, solution. It provides a simple, tidy explanation for a patient's suffering. It requires no lengthy investigation into the patient's diet, lifestyle, stress levels, or environmental exposures. A diagnosis can be made, a drug can be prescribed to manage the symptoms, and the patient is sent on their way. This model works well for managing a high volume of patients, but it often fails to address the root cause of the illness. This focus on genetics also fuels a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry. If a disease is a genetic defect, the logical solution is a drug that can correct or bypass that defect. This has led to the development of many powerful and sometimes life-saving medications. However, it also diverts attention and funding away from other, less profitable solutions. There is far less money to be made in telling people to eat more vegetables, spend time in nature, or manage their stress. As a result, The research agenda is often skewed towards finding a patentable, pharmacological magic bullet, rather than promoting foundational health. For the patient, however, this convenience is a poor substitute for genuine healing. Being told your condition is genetic can feel like a life sentence. It fosters a sense of helplessness and victimhood. It suggests that your health is out of your control, predetermined by a code you cannot change. This is not only disempowering, but it is also often scientifically inaccurate. Many conditions that have a genetic component are not predetermined at all. Instead, they represent a genetic predisposition, an underlying vulnerability that only manifests as disease under specific environmental conditions. This is a crucial distinction. The truth can be uncomfortable for the established medical system. Admitting that our food supply, our polluted environment, and our high-stress culture are primary drivers of disease is a radical act. It would require a complete rethinking of our approach to public health. It would mean challenging powerful agricultural and industrial interests. It would mean shifting the focus from simply managing symptoms with drugs to creating health from the ground up. It is far easier and more profitable to label a problem as genetic than it is to confront these enormous societal challenges head-on. We need a new way of thinking. We must move beyond the genetic blame game and embrace a more holistic and empowering model of health. Your genes are not your destiny. They are your legacy, and you have more influence over that legacy than you might think. The emerging science of epigenetics is showing us that our lifestyle choices can actually change how our genes are expressed. Specific foods, nutrients, and even our thoughts can act like switches, turning certain genes on or off. This means that even if you have a genetic predisposition for a disease, you can take active steps to keep that gene from being expressed. This new perspective invites us to become active participants in our own health journey. Instead of asking what's wrong with my genes, we can start asking how can I create an environment where my genes can thrive. The answer lies in getting back to basics. It means nourishing our bodies with real, whole foods that are rich in the vitamins and minerals our DNA craves. It means moving our bodies regularly, as they were designed to do. It means prioritizing sleep, managing stress, and reducing our exposure to environmental toxins wherever possible. These are not minor tweaks. They are powerful biological levers that can fundamentally change your health trajectory. True science is a process of discovery, not a collection of dogmatic beliefs. It is about having the courage to ask difficult questions and follow the evidence, wherever it may lead. When a disease is unexplained or on the rise, we must resist the temptation of the easy genetic answer. We must push for deeper investigation into all the potential contributing factors. We must demand a more curious and comprehensive approach from our healthcare systems. The goal should not be to simply put a label on an illness, but to understand its origins and find a path to true, lasting recovery. So, the next time you hear the phrase "it's genetic," I encourage you to be skeptical. See it not as an end point, but as a starting point for a deeper inquiry. Do not accept limitations that are based on an outdated and incomplete understanding of biology. We are not merely victims of our DNA, we are the custodians of our internal environment. By taking responsibility for that environment, we can unlock our body's incredible, innate potential to heal and to thrive. The power to change your health story is, to a remarkable degree, in your hands. Let's start asking the right questions.